So I lost 100 pounds. I went from 346 pounds and extremely sick, morbidly obese, to 246. And I made a video about that transformation story, and you can find it here. But in that video, I think I confused a few people, and I want to explain. I mentioned that I didn't count calories during the first 50-pound loss. And I received a couple comments that basically implied almost that I was trying to put out content, like some sort of gimmicky solution of weight loss. And I want to clear that up in this video because nothing could be further from the truth. So I want to explain what I did, again, to lose weight, because I don't want there to be any confusion. I'm not teaching that there's some magical system that I used that didn't involve counting calories. So I do want to backtrack, and I do want to explain, because it is very, very important, and because this is a new channel. I did not expect to get 40,000 views on that video. So the way I like to put it, and I'll explain what I did to lose 100 pounds as far as calories, but the way I like to put it is, first you have to learn to take care of yourself, and then you have to refine that focus. So let me explain what that means, and I'm going to cover what I did during my 100-pound weight loss. When I was 346 pounds, I was eating absolutely crazy ridiculous. I was eating at least 7,000 calories a day, extremely abusive. I would not eat much during the day before 5 o'clock, believe it or not. But then when it came to dinner, I would just literally eat as much as humanly possible, 2 or 3 servings until I could no longer eat. And then we're at like 6:30 or 7. And once the kids went to bed and my wife went to bed, then the fun would start. That's when my fun would start. I would every night, literally during this period of time, have a bag of tortilla chips and salsa or nacho cheese, and just an incredible amount of ice cream, to the point where I could not literally eat any ice cream anymore. And this would generally occur about 9:30 to 10:30. I would tag team that combination. And then somewhere around 12:30, I would stay up because at the time I was working at home as a writer, and about that time, 12:30, I would go make like 4 packs of ramen. A lot of times I would put in cheese into the ramen as well, and I would end up having just an incredible amount of calories every day. And I would probably eat this, I don't know, about 1 o'clock at night, go to bed about 2 o'clock at night, get up at 10 and work. This was my destructive eating habit. And I was eating 7,000, 8,000, I don't know. It was a ridiculous amount of calories. So when I made my initial video about losing weight, I talked about not counting calories. And I didn't count calories initially. And I know that sounds confusing, and it's not clickbait, and it's not some magic strategy, and I'm not trying to teach anybody some magic system that doesn't involve counting calories. But what I did, because I was scared to death of my health, I came down with fatty liver disease that was so bad that every muscle in my body from head to toe was cramping. I could not even move a little bit. I was getting a Charlie horse everywhere. And I was afraid my heart was going to cramp. I was afraid I was going to get a heart attack. So I immediately focused on taking care of myself. I didn't worry about calories. My focus was on, let's set aside the things I know that are bad, the junk food and the processed food and the tortilla chips and the 4 packs of ramen a night and the ice cream every single night, and focus on filling my stomach with things that were nutrient dense. Like I would eat a half a watermelon a night. Sometimes I'd eat 4 or 5 ounces of cheese. I would make jalapeno poppers with real jalapenos and real cream cheese and real bacon. And I know this sounds super fatty, and I wasn't doing some super specific diet. I was trying to move from a place of extreme abuse to some place where I was eating better. And were all my choices perfect? No. But my calorie intake went from 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10,000 calories a day down to 3,000, 3,500. And in the span of like 4 months, I lost 50 pounds without even trying. So, in making that first video, I also mentioned in a subsequent video that after I lost that first 50 pounds, I had to start focusing on calorie intake so I could moderate a little bit better to lose the next 50 pounds. So I want to make it clear, because I didn't make this channel to build a business. I don't have any business associated with this. I have another YouTube channel that I've had for 15 years that is about lifting. This isn't about specifically lifting. So there's no business involved here. I'm not trying to pitch you anything. I'm not trying to pitch you coaching. I'm not trying to pitch you a free PDF. I'm not trying to pitch anybody anything. I'm just trying to tell my story, and I don't want there to be any confusion. So the key here is what worked for me, and I'm not saying this is what will work for you, but I think it's important to focus on taking care of yourself with food, wherever you're at, because you can't just do a diet and then go back to your old way of eating when the diet is done. And this is how a lot of people get caught in that endless cycle of dieting. I'm going to diet, I'm going to restrict calories, and I'm going to go back to eating normally. And normally was the way that abused you. I had to focus on taking care of myself with foods that were nutrient dense, nutrient rich, that were not processed foods. And I think this is such an important part of the process, such an incredibly important part of the process. I want you guys to be successful. And there is a point when we start a weight loss journey. If you want to do a calorie deficit, that's great. As long as it's sustainable, more power to you. Let's do it. That's an essential for losing weight. My calorie deficit was going from 7 to 10,000 calories a day and cutting that way back. And my body just got rid of a lot of weight really, really quickly. But more important than that, sustainable weight loss it has to be grounded in taking care of yourself. It has to be grounded in making swaps or switches or moving from food that is hurting your body to food that is taking care of your body. So part one of this, whether you are in a calorie deficit or not, is trying to learn to take care of yourself. And then once you feel comfortable in that lane, trying to learn to focus that so you can continue to lose weight. Does that make sense? It was important for me to make this video because the comment I received was pretty scathing and basically positioning this as just more internet content about weight loss. That's the last thing I want to do. I just want to tell my story. I just want to help people. And I hope in some way this video clears things up and maybe helps you. Calorie deficit or not, we have to focus on taking care of ourselves with food, because that is what this is about. We have bad habits. We're abusing our body. It's making us sick. And calorie deficit or not, we have to take care of our body with food. We have to learn new choices, new habits, foods that we enjoy, that we look forward to, that aren't just processed crap. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.